Hey folks, Tim Lowry, Backfields Media. We're here with the 2031 eMLB draft preview. It is getting to be that time, and if you've ever watched an eMLB draft, you know it's probably one of the finest draft productions. It even rivals, in my mind, the official Major League Baseball draft as far as quality and content. Really good show. Hope you tune in for it. What this preview is going to do, we're going to look at all of the CCPs, and then we're going to look at the top 50 overall draft picks. Think of it as like a draft big board as opposed to a mock draft. I'm not going to try to read minds as far as who is thinking what. The CCPs add a special element to this, so they're going to go first. This is the list that is according to the Discord in the new community created players channel. So if you have a CCP that's eligible for this draft and you don't see them there, hit me up. We're going to do an addendum of the folks who get added late. There's always folks who come in just under the wire and draft a player. So that's what we're going to do here. Let's jump right into it, though. So starting with our CCPs, and these are in alphabetical order, so don't get excited or disappointed where you are here. First one is Oz Bones. He is D-Block Dragon's new CCP. Archetype type is the Freak. The skills here: exceptional defense, especially in center field. Sure-handed, great range, an above-average power bat, and also a player of high intelligence. This is going to be a player who would go high anyway. We will see whether or not he makes the top 50 or not. But this is a really good above-average profile, and of course, it's a CCP, so any of these can change, be boosted, but this is what we're working with here. Curious to see how the speed plays as Oz matures, especially with center field. The arm could use a little bit of work. Also worried about the ability to make high-quality contact, but I think these things will fix themselves over time. Looks to be a good player. D-Block with another up-the-middle CCP in Oz Bones. Marcus Kalahari is our next CCP, created by Malachi NCC 1701. This is a really good player. He's a utility man in the infield. That's the archetype. And as you can see, can play everywhere on the infield and play well. Rates out to above average. Even in the corner outfield spots, above average, almost plus in terms of defensive rating. Very good speed. Can play anywhere. The bat has some room to grow. Would like to see a little more contact before I declare this guy a five-tool player. Really good eye and power, though. That's going to make for a very good player. Second baseman, primarily. Love the fact that this is a guy who's a utility man with a high adaptability. He will be able to adjust to whatever role. This kind of has a Ben Zobrist feel to me. Marcus Kalahari, another CCP for the 2031 draft. Leon Carter is next. He is a catcher. He was created by me. He's the Freak archetype. This player is based on James Earl Jones' character in Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars, a movie from the 70s. It's about the Negro Leagues. And that character, Leon Carter, was based on Josh Gibson. So, plus power and contact. It's going to be an above-average defender, a smart player, Going to try to emulate what Josh Gibson did in his career in a more modern day setting. I'm curious to see where he gets drafted and how well he goes. I'm very excited adding him to the Warsaw, Virginia Mafia, the Northern Neck players. Leon Carter, a CCP. Chris Christopherson, our next CCP, created by Xtaforis. He's also another freak. We have a lot of those in this draft. So big splash in terms of potential for all of these guys. Christopherson has well above average offense, really good eye and contact, bodes well for his ability to hit near the top or in the middle of the lineup. Works hard at his game, very smart. I think that power and eye are going to play up well. He's a first baseman, so he's here primarily for his offense. And I think we're going to see a lot of offense, especially with that freak category. He will be at the top or near the top of a lot of categories, I feel like, as he comes into his own. Looking forward to see this player develop too, only 18 years old. Chris Christopherson. The already controversial and much desired DeMarco Flexington. I say that because OOTP basically refuses to put him in the draft, and guys keep signing him as a free agent after Kamisha said don't, and there have been fines galore. Not quite enough to pay for that second contract, but hey, this is going to be a star. Tampa Tarpons created him. He is a Mr. OBP archetype, and you see it in the profile there. Good contact with power and eye developing as well. He's a 5-tool player. Can run, is above average in everything. Classic second base profile, just a pure athlete, works hard. I fully expect to see that contact, the avoid K, spike up. I think that's going to improve over time. And again, with CCPs, comes down to what their creator wants to spend boost on. They can become everything, anything. But I really like this profile for a player. You could see him at the top or near the top of the lineup and even have enough pop to stay in. DeMarco Flexington. Bill Hickok is our next CCP, created by Mr. Bill. He's in the Charlie Hustle archetype. Really good character traits with this guy. A plus defender, really great range, can stand in on the double play. The arm could potentially play at short, would probably struggle a little bit at third. The batting profile right now, average to slightly below average, but again, with a CCP, this will improve. Really good speed. The ability to steal bases, I think, will improve over time as he kind of learns his role and gets some instruction with that. This is a very nice all-around player, and we're seeing an influx of middle infielders in this draft with CCPs. A lot of second basemen coming around as some of the other more notable middle infield CCPs are beginning to fall off a bit. Nice to have a little bit of fresh blood here. Bill Hickok is an example of that. And he is one of our CCPs for this new draft. Kenji Kobayashi, Cody created him. He is a speed demon with defensive tendencies. And he definitely can play all three outfield positions. He's got plus speed and defense. Even better on the steals. You can already, I would assume, be able to steal 25 to 30 bases. Tremendous character guy, so your clubhouse will not suffer. Going to struggle to break into the lineups if he does not improve his batting profile. However, I think that will improve over time enough to give him a chance to play full time. But he will definitely get a lot of looks on draft night. Considered to be one of the finer CCPs in the list. We'll talk about that more when we get into the top 50. Really like this player and to see where he will go. Does he join Cody in Sacramento, or will someone else have the pleasure of managing this guy? Kenji Kobayashi from Japan, another CCP. Jimmy Lake, created by Come Get Some. It's his first player, and another freak archetype. Above average defense, plays very well, has a strong arm for a third baseman. Batting profile rates out as average. He's only 20 years old. He's right in that range of where you want a 20-year-old to be, but he's got high upside on everything. And again, if he ends up with an average overall batting rating, that's a major league player. Really smart. So much room to grow here, and he's kind of like a blank slate in terms of CCPs. Whatever kind of becomes the thing that needs to be on his team should be fascinating. Not sure how many Mongolian players we have in eMLB or have had. I'm thinking he is the first, but this is going to be an exciting player. Jimmy Lake at third base, joining our class of CCPs for the 2031 draft. Harris saw the write-up in the CCP festival when we bid goodbye to Chubby Franchise and Logan Nutzman, who have retired from eMLB. Harris was not going to let that stand, and so here we have the love child of those two former players. El Chabino is a catcher. Above average defense. He's the Charlie Hustle type archetype. 18 years old, well ahead of his age group in terms of gap power and avoiding strikeouts. Really interesting batting profile here. I think as he matures, the eye and the ability to hit with authority, makes good solid contact, are going to improve. I see a lot of potential here for the catcher spot in terms of defensively. Again, with a CCP, you can adjust and boost your guy as you will. And Harris has good track record with his players in doing that, and I think this is just going to be another example of it. Chubby Nutzman, will he be drafted on night one? I kind of think he will. We will see. Sean Rodecker, the next CCP, created by Noble Eagle. You may be familiar with Shane Rodecker over at the Cardinals, who's kind of my pick to be one of the all-time great CCPs when all is said and done. And here comes another one from the family. 5-tool shortstop, already rates out as plus range and the ability to turn the double play. Power bat, solid contact, very good profile here. He's only 19 and already at plus level defense. Hard worker. This is one of the guys that our scouts at Backfields Media, you will not see him on the top 50. Spoiler alert. That said, if I was doing a mock draft, I fully expect Rodecker to go high in this draft. And it speaks to how you not only scout the players in eMLB, but you also scout the player creators and how well they do and the amount of boosts they put in, how active they are in the community. Noble Eagle has done a very good job with Shane. Shane Rodecker, former two-time home run derby champion in the CCP Festival, part of a World Series winning team in St. Louis. I don't expect any less from Rodecker here. Sean Rodecker, another CCP for 2031. Baffle 99 created his first player, and he is Doug Schmidt, the Baffler. Freak archetype, tremendous power potential. Really good, well ahead of his age range for where his power is at right now. Above average defense, play at third base, has a terrific arm, is a hardworking player. I fully expect to see the contact and eye grow. Also has a little bit of speed as well, and definitely a nice profile for a power third baseman. And of course, anytime you have a power third baseman with a good glove, last name Schmidt, that gets a baseball fan's attention. Doug Schmidt joining the CCP class of 2031. And last but not least, Lone Star, created by Lone Star. Our only pitching CCP so far. He is a marksman. 4 above average pitches as they grade out ultimately. The slider and the curveball look to be, and the splitter, even more so than a fastball, already has the ability to create weak contact. Does it a little more with guile than with speed. As you see, he's a 90 to 92 velocity guy. But the entire core profile will look very good. Above average stuff and control. This is going to be a fun player to have on the team. I feel like Lone Star's creation here. Eagle 5 captain, Lone Star. All right. We're going to take this break to tell you that if you want to create a CCP in this league, hit us up on the Discord, reach out or leave a comment here, and someone can route you to that. I'll also post a link to the Discord in the comments, in the description, so that you can see that and you can get your guy in, because draft day is fast approaching. That's why we're doing this. All right. Now, as of this recording, there are 745 players in the draft pool. There are going to be more, because we tend to have like about 800 or so. I will try to catch any of the late arrivals that are good, but there's also a bit of fog of war here. I'm not here trying to do general manager's homework for them, just kind of showing you where things stand now. So we'll get right into it. The top 50, these are guys that I think, based on some of the same criteria that we use to rate prospects, there are some things that we look at a little more closely. Quality of competition, the ability to sign a player takes a little more precedence there. College players get a little tiny tick above high school players, but not much. Also, looking at the character guys, as I've said before, I'm big on that in OOTP. But one thing to keep in mind, even if a player rates highly in a particular category, like character or, easy to sign, those things in and of themselves don't move the needle completely. It's a combination of things that we're looking at in these players. So it's not Tim's top 50 high character guys here, because there are some who aren't. But it's a really cool list of players. Kamish has done another great job at the draft. I know he's had not as much time as he usually has had, but this is still a very deep and very spicy draft that I feel like it kind of works at some of the gaps that are in the overall player base. And I think some teams are really going to find some help here in this coming draft. I'm not going 50-1. We're going to start at the top. So here we go with our top 50 draft board. At number 1, if you've looked at the player pool at all, you're aware of this guy. Ted Brody, 21-year-old right-handed first baseman from Park City, Utah. He is our number 1. He would be our number 1 draft pick on this board. He has the potential for elite power to all fields. He's already a 5-tool star. Tremendous home run hitting ability. Hit 18 homers in 68 games in college for UNLV. Terrific speed. He's a first baseman. So, not a typical middle of the infield type that I usually have at the top of my list, but the bat is just hard to ignore here. He is going to be an extra base hitter. Tremendous eye. The hit for average is going to be trailing for a bit, but I don't think it's going to be this is not Joey Gallo. This is going to be a very well-rounded player who is going to get a lot of attention on draft night. Really good character traits, very good clubhouse presence. I don't think there's any question. Ted Brody is the number 1 overall pick in the eMLB 2031 draft. At number 2, the Ghost, 17-year-old center fielder Eric Tubbs from Toledo, Ohio, already 6'4", tremendous batting profile with speed. He's got elite eye and power, especially to the gap. His speed is improving. He's got tremendous straight line speed. Harnessing that on the baseball field is coming and getting better. Terrific base running skills, very sure-handed in the outfield. Looks to me to be a little bit more of a corner outfield than the center fielder that he's showing at. That said, he's got the speed to be able to develop into an everyday center fielder. There's no doubt in my mind that this batting profile could end up winning a Triple Crown at some point. Even in our very CCP heavy league, Eric Tubbs is going to stand out and be a star. He is the number 2 selection for Backfields Media in this draft. At number 3, we have pitcher Eric Singer, 21-year-old right-hander from Wesleyville, Pennsylvania. His nickname is Magic. It's not really magic. It is a plus-plus fastball and slider combination that is devastating. Throws very well to either side of the plate. Regardless, you're a right-hander, left-hander, you're out. Power pitcher. His core skills are going to be all at least above average. I think his home run suppression will be plus, if not greater. The stuff with that 2-pitch mix, I think he's going to keep hitters off balance. Tremendous character guy. I see him with the potential for closer. You will notice in this draft, I may have fully converted to the Church of the Relief Pitcher. I'm seeing this in just baseball in general, and I've kind of finally closed the door on my 80s baseballness. I'm seeing relief pitchers having a bigger role, and especially in eMLB. We're going to larger starting rotations, fewer pitches per appearance, a lot of only facing the lineup twice. And so your guys like your McClures and your McPhersons, who are every other day out here for an inning or two, are going to become more and more prevalent, and that makes them more valuable. Singer has that potential. I also see him to be able to come in any situation, regardless of inning, and just be a high leverage pitcher. Eric Singer is the number 3 overall selection in this draft for Backfields Media. At number 4, Tom Corbett, 20-year-old left-handed right fielder from Flint, Michigan. In school in Missouri, has applied for the draft. Plus gap power with contact. That's very close. Love this line drive bat. The ball jumps off of his bat. The power isn't quite as developed as the contact skills at this point, but they will get there. Also has an eye that rates out to being average, but could improve. Definitely has a great right field profile. It's classic. Tremendous arm. Not be somebody you'd want to run on in right field. This could be kind of like a high end of the order sort of guy, a number 2, kind of a place setter. If his speed was a little better, he could possibly be an elite leadoff guy. But with the power and speed that he does have, he's a no doubt player for me. I see him going very high in this draft. We have him number 4, Tom Corbett. Our first starting pitcher of this draft preview, and number 5 on our big board, Josh Ballard, 20-year-old left-handed starting pitcher from Elmhurst, Illinois. 4-pitch mix, splitter sinker are the 2 lead pitches. Changeup plays a little better than the fastball. Will tend to keep players kind of off balance. It's kind of a backwards pitch mix that he has. Really good control, above average stuff. Very good at making the adjustments he needs to, and I think that will play out not just in game but over the course of the season. Very durable guy, can pitch deep into games, and still with that pitching, would love to see his velocity tick up a little bit. He's getting by a little more on guile than just pure speed, but I really do like this. He's kind of unique in a way, and I feel like that's going to stand out, and especially his ability to keep the ball in the park. Josh Ballard is our number 5 selection on our big board. And another pitcher, Mike Almond, comes in at number 6, 20-year-old reliever, left-hander from Green Oak Township in Michigan. The fastball grades out as potentially elite. Mix that with a plus curve. Tremendous stuff. Just already touching 96 on the gun. Keeps the ball in the park and avoids a lot of heavy contact. He's getting the most out of his velocity here. He can hit his spots well. I feel, and there's a lot of room to improve with this guy. I mean, he could be that. I feel like that stamina will tick up a little bit in time. I feel like he could be that every other day reliever who comes out and gets you an inning or 2. Or if you needed a closer, he would be a good one, especially as a left-hander. Going to be very interesting to see where he goes. I know OSA doesn't think there's a very high ceiling for him. We do at Backfields Media. He's our number 6 prospect in this draft. Chad Olds is our number 7 selection. He's ranked much higher by OSA. And it's not his fault that we have him lower. There's some other players that liked a little better. 20-year-old switch hitting left fielder from Hazel Park, Michigan. Excellent power, plus contact, can drive the ball to the gap, will not strike out a lot. Doesn't draw a lot of walks, but makes up for it with his ability to make good contact. Hits the ball to all fields. Very good speed, above average. Excellent base running tendencies. Knows how to steal a base. Would love to see the defense tick up a little bit. He's an offense first kind of guy. His speed has not translated to good range in the outfield, which suggests to me they could use some coaching to kind of tick that up, improve that while he's in the minor leagues. Has the arm to play right field. It's just that range concerns me a little bit, but either way, the bat's going to be in the lineup. Just a tremendous hitter. Chad Olds, the number 7 on our big board. Jay Langelier comes in at number 8 on the Backfields Media draft board. 21-year-old right-hander, plays left field from San Antonio, Texas. This entire batting profile tracks as plus. Would be an all-around terrific hitter. Is going to be a corner defender, either in the infield or outfield. Tracks out most likely as a left fielder, but a solid one. It isn't just please don't hit it to him. I think he can handle himself out there. His power skills are slightly ahead of the rest of his game, but all of it looks like it is going to mature very well. Professional hitter. You notice the personality trait here. The mind tends to wander a little bit. So it's going to take someone who can keep him focused. Curious to see how he does see how his general manager assigns him to various things in the development lab and see what he becomes. But J.J. Langelier, the number 8 prospect on our draft board. We talked about this guy in our CCP rankings. Kenji Kobayashi tracks out as our number 9 draft board ranking. And I'll say here as I come in, because we've only got a few CCPs in this top 50. Again, this is not a mock draft. So it isn't a matter of, because I think there are going to be some CCPs who go higher than people that we've already talked about. This is just a by the numbers, by our evaluation methods. Yes, I'm chained to a spreadsheet. You caught me. But Kenji has that ability. Plus speed and defense. I fully expect that defense and speed to rise to elite levels. Terrific character guy. All of his secondary skills carry what would be an otherwise average bat. And this whole mix will age well and will grow well. He's only 18 and already has major league quality speed and defense. I think that's just going to get better. Kenji Kobayashi, the number 9 selection on our big board. Randy Phelps coming in at number 10, 23-year-old right-handed reliever from Hanover Township, New Jersey. Above average fastball, grades to potentially elite. The core pitching skills are there, all above average. I love the fact that he keeps the ball down. He is a power pitcher with ground ball tendencies, touches 99. Phelps will go high because he is closer to being ready than most. And plus the age doesn't hurt there. The one thing I'd really like to see is some heavy work in the minors on that changeup. The fastball is already ready. I think he'd get eaten alive right now in the majors, but that changeup has potential. If he worked in a third pitch, perhaps even more so. But as this profile plays right now, I feel like he is the 10th best selection in our draft. Randy Phelps. Number 11, Raheem Jennifer, 22-year-old center fielder from LA. 5-tool star. I really like this player. Plus power, tremendous defense, can play all three outfield positions and is a legitimate center fielder. Has the individual defensive ratings to back that up. Has excellent speed, really good character traits. And I feel like this is a guy who's going to hit power with a high average, draw a lot of walks. Just a shade below some of the bigger bats, the Brodies. Not quite to that level, but he's close. If he ultimately became the best hitter in this draft, non-CCP version, I wouldn't be surprised. Very good. Plus, he plays a very highly valuable defensive position, which moves him up quite a bit. Raheem Jennifer, the number 11 selection on our board. Jorge Ascenso is the number 12 on the board, and another superb power guy with above average contact. Really good hitting profiles in this draft. Has center field traits, not quite as good as Jennifer's that we just saw, but up there, up to average. Corner outfield, definitely. Superb baseball instincts. A bit of an introvert, kind of quiet. Nothing really stands out about his character profile so much, but can hit the ball, has speed, has baseball speed. I don't think his straight line speed is all that terrific, but he harnesses it and he's got some intelligence on the base paths, especially with his base running ability. Understands the game. This feels like a guy who's just going to grow in that sense. Also, as a 21-year-old, a lot closer to starting to move. He's already moved off of the 20 in his overall rating. Jorge Ascenso, the number 12 selection on our board. Mike Allison comes in at number 13, 22-year-old right-handed closer from Portsmouth, Virginia. Went to Duquesne. The cutter curveball mix is devastating. Touches 98 with that cutter. Keeps the ball down, has good control, excellent velocity. Everything is above average. The thing that I really paid attention to here was how his stamina is much higher than a lot of the other relievers we're seeing. Not quite starter material. I may be in a 6-man situation, just a 5 innings type of guy, and especially with the 2 pitches, he would struggle as a starter. But I feel like this guy could be workhorse for a team that likes workhorses. I could see there are a couple of teams that I kind of have penciled him in to being at, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is a first-round pick or a high second-round pick, judging by the way we draft. But for us, he is the number 13. He should go in the top half of the first round in my mind. Mike Allison. At number 14, center fielder Stu Marr, 20-year-old right-hander from Clinton, Michigan. And the defense jumps off the page. He is already above average at the major league level for center field. Almost elite range, plus arm. Great straight line speed, and you see that in the range. Not so much, hasn't really honed in on the base paths. I don't expect that to be a problem, though, because of that magic mix of work ethic and intelligence that the dev lab seems to love so much. I think he's going to be just fine. He's got potential with the bat, got good power and eye. Contact is way off of where it should be at this stage in his career. That's going to need a lot of work. That said, it could get, we're tracking it to below average right now, but I could see that coming up to being average or slightly better than at some point. Played against very solid competition in Purdue. I really like this player. A great defensive center fielder with power and eye. Yeah, I'll take that. He's our 14th on our draft board. Stumar. Number 15 is Freddie Robinson. Robinson, a 19-year-old left-hander from Austin, Texas. The batting profile rates out as plus. Tremendous bat-to-ball skills. Picks up pitches very well, drives them, can hit with power to all fields, but only grades out as average in terms of raw power. Is more of a gap hitter. With his speed, that's going to turn into a lot of triples. So he is going to be, quite the machine, I feel like, for somebody in the upper middle of their order. The speed also translates on the base paths as well. High character guy. I'm not really sure why OSA has him only rated as a 47, and maybe it's because, of the eye potential. The eye and avoid K are both below average. But I really like this player a lot, and especially since he can play center field very well. Did knock him a little bit because of his, relative youth. He's a JUCO sophomore, but I'd take a flyer on this guy. He's our number 15th selection in the draft board, Freddie Robinson. Robert Suarez comes in at number 16, 24-year-old right-hander. Surprising to see a 24-year-old in the draft that has not already basically peaked. But he is as close to ready as you're going to get in a non-CCP player. Excuse me. Already elite at creating weak contact. Fastball is above average right now and grades to plus, as does the changeup. All of his core skills are above average. A bit of a prankster, so got the personality to be a good reliever. I think as the stuff improves, he already touches 97. As his stuff gets better, I think he would be able to stand in the majors as a reliever. Really good pitch mixes, though. Robert Suarez from Venezuela, our number 16th selection on our draft board. Mike Cessna is number 17. He is a five-tool player, rather. Loves to play baseball. 22-year-old right-hander from Lansford, Pennsylvania, another center fielder. Elite speed on the base paths. Tremendous instincts for that. We also see the speed in his defensive range. Can play all three outfield positions fairly well. Is already well developed in that. He's a high minors kind of guy, I feel like. The batting profile is behind his secondary skills, but improving. everything about that profile is above average at this point. He could be a real good day-to-day star, and kind of the type of player that I see that is going to start out definitely as a center fielder, and then he could flourish there. As his skills mature, he could easily slot in to one of the corner spots. The arm, probably the only reason he couldn't play in right field. Could be a top of the lineup guy for a team that would try to steal a lot of bases. Could also be a good middle or bottom middle of the order guy as well. Mike Cessna, number 17 selection. Our second CCP, Bill Hickok, plus defender, 21-year-old right-handed second baseman from Ottawa, Illinois. Love the defensive profile on him. Classic second baseman. Above average speed, good base running, makes average contact. But again, the CCP kind of plays into here a little bit, but not much. Great work ethic and intelligence. He's a hard worker, knows how to and can be taught. And I feel like that's going to help him improve as well. But he kind of rates in here. If you look at this big board, it's the CCP as they are right now. There's little thought to what their creator is going to do for them. So this guy's a really very good prospect. Bill Hickok is our number 18. At number 19, Ernesto Cartagena, 21-year-old from SeaTac, Washington. He's listed here as a closer, but could potentially become a starter at some point. He is a finesse pitcher, good 4-pitch mix, misses the bats with location more so than speed. Now, he's only going to touch 9 in the lower 90s on the gun, but the ball's heavy, stays in the park. Even though he's not the best at missing bats and, guys can generate good contact off of him, it stays in the park and has, to this point, gone into somebody's glove. I would be curious to see what he could become as a starter. But he's very talented reliever, durable, another guy who could fit that bill of the every other day, go out there and get some outs kind of player who has just such incredible value in our league. Ernesto Cartagena is our number 19 selection. Rounding out our top 20 on the eMLB draft board for Backfields Media, 21-year-old left-handed right fielder Danny DeCamp. Big Daddy is from El Reno, Oklahoma. And Big Daddy, you would think, is the quintessential slugger. And although he does have some power, his elite speed is what generates the attention. Has very good base running abilities as well. Needs to learn to harness that speed in terms of stealing bases. But in the outfield, he's extremely good. The range is there. Tracks out to be a corner guy. Didn't see any center field tendencies here. Already very good at the right field position. Another smart, coachable player whose batting profile, I think, could tick from average to above average fairly quickly. Not going to hit a lot of homers, but is definitely going to be hitting, a couple dozen, 30 home runs a year, doubles a year, rather. And being interested, I'm curious to see where he goes and how long he's in the minors for. Danny DeCamp is our number 20 prospect on the draft board. At number 21, Brad Bill, third baseman from Newport News, just turned 22, 6'4". Strong contact, puts the ball in play, has a plus arm at third. The range isn't the greatest and isn't the most sure-handed, but can definitely play the position. The arm gets a lot of looks. Very good leader potential here, and not just in the clubhouse, but also on the field. I think he's going to be a kind of a high average sort of hitter. Not so much in the extra base, but kind of like a Carney Lansford type is what this feels like a little bit. If I was gonna like map him to somebody, I feel like he's got really good potential, and his contact ability and the arm. The fact that he has got well above average skills in a couple of areas makes me think that he's going to be a very good prospect. Brad Bill comes in at number 21. At number 22, Joe John, the Gorilla, only 16 years old, from San Jose, California, a high school junior, and well above his age range for his skill set. Forces weak ground ball contact, keeps the ball down. He's not a physically imposing kind of guy. I mean, he's 6 foot, but this isn't a 6'7" guy doing this. I think the velocity is going to improve. He's touching 92 as a 16-year-old. The control has plenty of room to improve, but he's just a raw pitcher right now. I think his overall mechanics are going to improve those core skills, like the changeup fastball combination. He's working on a sinker. He's very smart. He learns hitters and, kind of helps himself in that regard. Isn't going to get beat twice by the same guy the same way. I'm curious to see what he will become. He grades out as a starter, and I could definitely see that. He's got durability. Joe John is our 22 prospect on the draft board. Brad Novak, 20-year-old left-handed shortstop from Moscow, Idaho, 6'2", 210. Really can play anywhere on the infield. Another high-quality contact guy with great speed and tremendous range defensively. Will play as a shortstop. Also has second and third base tendencies as well. The arm is good enough to play anywhere in the infield. I think the errors will improve with time. The speed is starting to translate to on the base paths. Mix all of that with the ability to hit line drives consistently and has doubles power. All of that plus the good character traits. I really think this is going to be a very good player coming up and has the potential to be an everyday starter at short for somebody. Brad Novak, 23rd on the big board. At number 24, he's already been immortalized in the Discord with a tremendous rendering. Gene Farrell, 21-year-old right-handed starting pitcher from West Jordan, Utah. Above average core skills all the way, plus control. Can miss bats. Is an over-the-top ground ball pitcher. Touches 95. Really good cutter. Hard worker, smart. An 80 grade nickname. The diaper. I feel like he's got a very interesting mix. And with the work ethic and the ability to improve, and I mean, just the tremendous range for improvement that he has, I feel like he could be an everyday, he could be, top of the rotation type starter, number 2 type starter. Tremendous. I'm curious to see as his pitches mature, just how much the stuff increases. But that said, Gene Farrell is definitely high on our list. Had good 2 years in college, as you can see. He's our number 24 on the draft board, Gene Farrell. At number 25, a five-tool player, 20-year-old switch hitting second baseman Mike Elbing from Pea Ridge, West Virginia. Plus power bat, both for doubles and over the fence. Very solid contact, above average. Classic second base defensive profile. I think more than holds his own there. Above average speed. Wish the eye was a little bit better. That would have moved him up a little bit, I think, on this list. But the overall batting profile plays very well. He's already kind of ahead of the curve in terms of power. The speed will play up. There's a lot to like here. A lot of good overall ability. That's going to draw a lot of attention. Love the fact that he can hit power to all fields and isn't just going to be a pull hitter in terms of hitting the ball in the air. Mike Elbing, number 25, and marks the halfway point of our top 50 draft board. At number 26, Andrej Sulik, 22-year-old left-handed starting pitcher. He is from the Czech Republic. Plus control, a solid 4-pitch mix, a lot of room to grow here. Generates weak contact, as he says in English. Keeps the ball down. I love the potential of this guy, and I think when he gets solid major league coaching, I think it's going to help, and even minor league coaching. Very good stamina. A lefty starter. Everybody wants a lefty starter. Again, another one I'm curious at, as the pitches develop, how much will the stuff develop? But the fact that he keeps the ball down and can hit his corners, he's going to make a nice living in this game, being able to do that. Touches 94. We'll see if that improves over time, but I really like what he could become. He's kind of one of these dreams in baseball. You think he could be so much. I'm excited to see what he's going to be. Andrej Sulik is our 26th. Another starting pitcher comes in at number 27, Steve Meadows, 19-year-old from Little Silver, New Jersey, right-hander, goes to North Carolina State. The nickname is $1 Million. Love this curveball. Has above average control and home run suppression. The stuff will grow. I like that. He's only 19 and he's got the profile of somebody 22, 23 years old. So he's well advanced for that. Grades out as a finesse pitcher. Won't break a pane of glass. But I feel like he's got the tools and the makeup to be a very tough pitcher to face. He's got a lot of tools, a lot of options that he can use. I'm curious. I would love to see which becomes his dominant second pitch. What will set up that curveball? That fastball change combination, if they could tick up a little more, he had been much higher on this list. But I really like the profile. Steve Meadows coming in at number 27. At number 28, 17-year-old shortstop Juan Saucedo, 6'3". The right-hander is from Reading, Pennsylvania. And plus power, both to the gap and raw power. Has above average eye and speed. Plus defender. on the left side of the diamond. Can play shortstop, is not just barely a shortstop. He will be a plus defender at short, can stand in for the double play. Like the personality things that will eventually harness his energy and improve his knowledge of the game. I think that's really going to show up in his ability to make contact. It's honestly, it's not as progressed as the gap power and the eye has for him so far, but I think it will come. It will always be below average. But that said, that's not a big deal when you're able to rip bombs like he's going to be able to, steal a base, and play good defense. He doesn't need to be a 300 hitter to have value. So Juan Salcedo, really like his potential at being a future shortstop in our league. He ranks 28th. At number 29, another 18-year-old right-handed middle infielder, Mike Sanford. Grades out at second base. He's from Marblehead, Massachusetts. Above average batting profile, really good power bat. The mechanics are what we see here as being able to be well above average, as with the contact as well. I think the contact is going to grow. He's a little behind in being able to make solid contact consistently. But I think with the power he has, he's going to learn to harness that. Above average defender at second, classic profile. Has the ability to play at third. I think the arm is going to keep him on the second base side. Speed, below average. It's his ability to hit that's going to make people stand up and notice. And he is the more modern day second baseman, less of a defensive profile for him as, trying to get extra offense out. Mike Sanford is our 29th prospect on the draft board. And coming in at number 30, starting pitcher Sean Lindroth, 21-year-old right-hander from New York, New York. 5 pitches. The splitter and the curve are rated out as plus. Very good pitcher BABIP, meaning you're not going to get a lot of high-quality contact off of him. Is neither a grounder or a fly ball guy, but I feel like that's going to tend to drift more towards grounders, especially as the control improves. Throws a heavy ball. Touches 96. Would like the stuff to be a little higher than it is, but I think that will also come as these pitches mature. Got a good personality as far as the game itself. He's not going to get too hard on himself with a bad outing. Lindroth can go deep into games, and with that 5-pitch mix, and he's got the mentality to hang in there and get you 6, 7, 8 innings as needed. I feel like he's got some really good potential here. Sean Lindroth ranks 30th on the big board. Coming in at 31, another reliever, Chad Martin. Yes, I told you I converted. 21-year-old right-hander from Gardnerville, Ranchos, Nevada. Only 2 pitches, but they both are incredible. The cutter grades out as elite. The slider plus, which I think is the modern day equivalent of the fastball changeup combo, this cutter slider ability. I think the stuff is going to greatly play up. He will be able to keep the ball down. He's touching 95 to 97. Takes care of himself. Has a very good nutrition regime, as it says. Good character traits. High stamina. Again, this is somebody else who could come in and, go through an entire batting order once for a team and be fine. And also very good hold capabilities for a right-hander. Not too bad for a lefty either, but you don't normally see a right-hander with that ability to hold runners on. This is a guy who could come in with men on base and still be effective in that case. Chad Martin. are 31. At number 32, reliever Greg Stevenson, 21-year-old right-hander from High Point, Florida. This is another two-pitch pitcher. Both pitches look to be elite, already touches 100 miles an hour plus. This is to me, it's a classic closer profile where he just throws it past you. You know, he's going to walk some guys. He's going to give up some homers, but he's going to strike out more than enough to be valid. A sidearm delivery, power pitcher. I really like the fact that the fastball is already ready. The control worries me a little bit. If it, as it progresses and gets closer to average, he will be much better. In college, he gave up 4 walks per 9, which is a little concerning, but I just love the power in this arm. I think he can be trained and focused and will be a very good pitcher going forward. Has the character traits to learn. Greg Stevenson comes in at 32. At number 33, probably the second best nickname after Diaper on this, Chris Testo, 20-year-old shortstop from Hasbrook Heights. He is a Czech-American. Elite middle infield range and speed, can play short or second, has the arm to play all over the infield. Elite range, elite speed. The speed is beginning to show up on the base paths. Terrific line drive hitter. He's always in the cage. This is the kind of guy who always seems to be, he's kind of like a definition of clutch. If clutch hitting existed, he would probably be the poster child for it. Brother Fire, what a great nickname. Not going to hit a ton of homers, but has the gap power, and with that speed, that's going to equal triples. I think he'll hit for a high enough average too. With great defensive shortstops, any offense is a plus, and Testo has more than average offensive abilities. He's going to be a fun player to watch. Chris Testo comes in 33 on our draft board. Kevin Ryan comes in at number 34, 21-year-old right-handed closer from New York. Love the slider. Will end up with plus stuff and keeps the ball down. Works hard at his craft. Learns hitters. Is always out there. I think the cutter is going to be better than his fastball. Definitely the slider is going to be his primary pitch. He's going to be tough to face, depending on the pitchers who have come ahead of him. He will have a unique mix for hitters to face late in games, and I think he's going to be a big problem. Curious to see how quickly the stuff matures for him. How quickly he gets from that average to above average track on his pitches. But I like this guy. Also has enough stamina to be a potential starter at some point. And if he does, that 3-pitch mix will be very solid. He's kind of my I feel like this is another contender for that. Go out and give me 2 innings every other day kind of pitcher. Kevin Ryan comes in at number 34. Another CCP, this time the baffler, Doug Schmidt, 20-year-old right-hander from Bellflower, California. And as said before, plus power, above average arm at third, decent speed, constantly working on his game, the classic work ethic, intelligence traits. The power makes the rest of this batting profile go from average to above average. I think he's going to be a tremendous player, and I think he'll end up playing every day. Again, gotta love those third baseman named Schmidt. Doug Schmidt, our number 35 on the big board. Leith LeClaire comes in at number 36, 23-year-old left-hander. He's 6'4", just a speed demon, just fast as can be. Great straight line speed. Has not really translated to the outfield. He's working to improve that. I think he's got the ability to become more. I don't think it's going to translate him into becoming a center fielder per se. But a corner outfielder with that kind of speed, if he could increase the range, could kind of take the pressure off of whoever is in center. Fairly sure-handed. At 23, he's begun to develop, and the profile is beginning to show up. He's got above average power, both to the gap and raw. And I think he is going to show up well. The question is how quickly and what's his peak look like. That's going to be a big deciding factor as to how far he gets. I think with that speed, we'll see time in the majors. I fully believe that. Leith LeClaire is our number 36 selection on the draft board. At number 37, Sergio Ardila, 22-year-old switch hitter from Bethpage, New York. Went to school at Penn State Brandywine. The bat will play. Plus skills. He's got high-quality contact. More of a gap power hitter, but still has the ability to hit it over the fence. Terrific eye. Above average speed. A little too, he's ready to steal the minute he gets on. I think coaching will help with that, both in his aggressiveness and his ability. I think they will kind of come closer together. As you could see in his college years, he stole a lot of bases, but got caught a lot too. That's not gonna cut it in the majors. Can play all three fields defensively. Could potentially be. I'd be curious to see if he could last as a center fielder. I mean, it depends on how he grows. But good defensive skills, base defensive skills, above average. So he'll be able to play in either corner spot. This is a guy who, I'd be curious to see just how well he does develop. I think he is, we're kind of getting into that stage where these guys in the draft could be major leaguers, could be 4A guys. Who knows? Sergio Ardila is our number 37 selection. At number 38, 17-year-old first baseman Danny Gartner, the right-hander, comes from Summit, Illinois, and he is a line drive hitter. Really good contact, the ability to drive the ball well. He's more of a pull hitter. It's not showing up yet. He's only 17, so these traits are about where you'd expect them to be. It is the overall potential and the mechanics that we see in him that kind of raise him from being, he's just a 17-year-old kid, to being, hey, this guy could be something. I think the power and eye track out very well. He's a hitter. He's not going to be up for his speed or his defense, although his defense will. I mean, at first, he's 6'3". He'll be fine playing there. Will not strike out as much. I just want to see this power and this eye develop. That will quickly determine whether he is just a teenager with a dream or whether he is a true major leaguer. Danny Gartner comes in at 38 on our board. Sean Polito comes in at number 39, 22-year-old right-hander from Federal Way, Washington. Reliever, 2 pitches, has an elite fastball, Above average stuff, touches 98, straight over the top guy. Love that pitching style. High velocity. He's got good ability. I would really love to see this curveball start making a move up, and I think it will shift all of his other potential ratings significantly, if that could be. If the curveball ends up being above average, as it tracks to here, he'll be tough, especially with that speed. Home run suppression is about average. Control grades out to be slightly above average. Like him. And again, this is we're in the if things go right category of this draft. Sean Polito is a guy who has good potential for that. Also for a reliever, pretty decent stamina. Again, would love to see him get a third pitch if you're going to rely on him coming out there every other day for an inning or so, but a good baseline to at least start with here. Sean Polito comes in at number 39. At number 40, Kevin Keller, 23-year-old closer from Timberland, Louisiana. 3 above average pitches overall. The fastball grades out the highest. The sinker and the cutter play above average as well. Paints the corners. That's his primary skill amongst the core skills. Excellent character traits, which means he's going to keep working on his game. He's smart. He will learn hitters and adjust. Slightly concerned about his ability to keep the ball in the park. Depends on the stadium he ends up pitching in, I guess. But again, some good potential here to be a reliable, everyday bullpen arm. I don't see him as much as a closer unless that fastball really picks up. But could be an excellent setup man. Curious to see what he becomes. He's already graded pretty highly for now. He's come off the 20 floor, so he'll get some looks on draft night, definitely. Kevin Keller, the number 40 selection in our big board. At number 41, Wynton Cashman, third best nickname, by the way, in our Bloody Cashman is a 21-year-old from Markham, Ontario. The Canadian right-hander has an excellent fastball curve mix. I think the fastball will grade out better. Throws them heavy. Above average core skills here. He's above where a 21-year-old is a bit and has the potential to be extremely good. Tops out right now, velocity around 95. Again, he's got that will eventually harness his energy thing. So he could go one of two ways. I like where this plays out because, I don't think he's going to reach his potential in everything. It's just like every other pitcher, every other player on this list. But I think where he's got the potential to shine is with that stuff and keeping the ball down. That's always valuable. I see Cashman as a future major leaguer. Again, maybe not a high leverage guy, but somebody who's going to eat up a lot of innings, will come in and get those key outs in a setup role type thing, and be available to face certain guys and get the occasional save. Wynton Cashman is number 41. Coming in at number 42 on our big board, the 22-year-old right-hander Juan Puentes from Wyoming, Michigan. The right-hander has 3 above-average pitches, good stuff, keeps the ball down, has good, strong leadership traits. It feels kind of like rinse and repeat here. And kind of I'm turning to my staff here at Backfields Media and saying, see, this is why I'm not crazy about relievers, because, you kind of in lottery pick territory with these guys. But the good overall profile here is what sticks out. Control is going to be slightly below average, but I think the stuff and the movement will support this. Again, the three good pitches, it will determine if all three of these pitches become above average potential, then he'll be more than fine. Again, I think this is going to be a guy who's going to fill a particular role in a bullpen, whether it's the multiple days, every other day type role, or whether it's the setup role. Less of a closer for this guy than that, but I really like the overall profile and the character traits. Juan Puentes, number 42. Coming in on the home stretch, number 43, Pat Rares from Oklahoma City, the 22-year-old right-handed left fielder. Elite base running skills. Outstrips his speed, as a matter of fact. He's got really good baseball base running instincts. Never drops a ball in the outfield. Plays above average defense. The range and arm suggests to me corner outfielder more than a center fielder. Also decent at first base. The speed is incredible. Offensive categories, I think his gap power rates out as above average. Everything else tracks to slightly below average. The speed will tip that up. He's going to be a huge triples guy, I feel like, with that high gap power and the speed, and the defense will play. Is he more of a late inning defense speed replacement in a game? Or can he somehow work this profile into being an everyday player? That's kind of what I'm on the fence about. But I really like this. And those 100s are going to get some playing time. I feel like someone will take a chance on him. I don't see him being an everyday player per se. But I really do like him. He's one of these unique players that's going to be fun to watch. Pat Rares, number 43. At number 44, CCP, Marcus Kalahari. And again, this is rating the CCP as they stand now. Obviously, I think if he's going to be gone well before pick 44. There may be 4 in his pick number, but I just love this profile. Terrific all-around skill set. Will grow into a 5-tool star. Very patient at the plate. Super sub defensive skills. Easy enough for me to say. Above average speed. I like the flexibility that this player gives you when you pick him. Has the ability to end up in the outfield or be your super sub. That guy who get 120 starts without really even having a position to play every day. Like this guy, I think he's going to be one of the more fun CCPs in the next couple of years as he progresses. Marcus Kalahari is number 44 on our draft board. At number 45, Josh Afuso, 17-year-old left-handed right fielder from Cleveland, Ohio. Tracks out as a corner outfielder primarily. Contact hitter with above average eye. Would probably be more of a leadoff number 2 hitter if he had better speed numbers. But I do like the hitting profile. I think he's going to get on. He's going to be a get on base kind of guy with the occasional double, and then goes out and plays defense and doesn't embarrass himself. Tremendous arm. Will likely be able to play right field. He's well ahead of other 17-year-olds. This is not a high schooler's profile. And so I think he's ahead of the game and would be worth more than a look. This is one of these ones where you roll the dice and you hope the minor league team and the ability to create something from this raw tools pans out here. Josh Afuso is number 45. At number 46, Josh Schwarzenberg, 22-year-old right-handed starter from Santa Clara, California, has a stellar 5-pitch mix, has a cutter slider combo that's basically at the head of that, will touch mid-90s. And I think the stuff is going to eventually grade out. I am also very curious as to how the control is going to end up playing out. If that becomes above average, his ability to pitch deep into games, I see him with the great potential to be a number 3, number 4 starter for someone. He's able to create weak contact now. He gets guys to hit balls on the ground. There are some teams that are going to immediately flag him because of that ability, and I think the profile also matches those. I see Schwarzenberg going very early in this draft. Maybe not first round, but I doubt if he will be around at 46. And again, this isn't a mock draft. This is just raw talent levels at this point. Josh Schwarzenberg, number 46 for Backfields Media. Chris Frazier coming in at number 47. Plus defender with a near elite arm. Grades at, he's better right now at short than he is at third, but third could potentially be where he ends up. I wouldn't mind seeing that at shortstop, that profile there. Really good. Works hard, has above average gap and contact ability, so he's not a defense only type player. Even the power and the eye are going to come up to below average and not poor. I think he's going to has the potential to be very good. Don't know if the bat's going to play up high enough to be a full-time starter. Kind of depends on how he grows and what he becomes into. Not going to get much out of him from speed or base running, but I think the defense gets him some looks, and the bat will determine whether or not he stays up or not. Again, this is a classic 4A, depending on how things will go. But Chris Frazier is our number 47 selection on our big board. Oz Bones comes in at 48. Again, above average center fielder with plus range. He's got above average power. Those two traits will play. He's got massive potential. He's going to be gone well before pick 48. I have no doubt about that. I fully expect him to be in the majors at some point. It's just, like I said, our process, our numbers, Bones. If he's not a CCP, he's the 48th pick on our board. Just put it that way. Oz Bones. Our next to last is Mike Gardner, 21-year-old left-handed shortstop. Buzzy comes from Athens, Georgia. Above average middle infielder with plus range. He's got above average speed. Very good speed and D guy, but also the batting profile could become above average across the board. With maybe eye failing to hit average. Again, good defensive middle infielder with offensive skill. Those are not thick on the ground. So Gardner will get selected, will get a chance to play. He works hard. He's not the life of the party, but doesn't have to be. Another guy that I'm curious to watch as he progresses through the minors and see what this becomes. He could very well become a super infield sub for somebody who has the bat to play, that every third or fourth day. Mike Gardner is our number 49 prospect. And we wrap up the Backfields Media big board with shortstop Mike Dunn, 22-year-old right-hander from Warren, Ohio. This kid is already major league ready in defense. can play third or short, is plus defender, has above average power and eye, so that plays very well, has good adaptability, so he's going to adjust to in-game situations. I wish the contact was a little more further along than it is for a 22-year-old. If the power continues to progress, and if that gap power could tick over to slightly above average as opposed to average, I think, it's, again, the bat's going to determine whether or not this kid can play every day. He is a defender, primarily. Will be a terrific addition for somebody, whether he is a reserve bat or a 4A type guy remains to be seen. Mike Dunn is our top 50, is our 50th guy on our draft board. Again, not every draftee is out there in the pool right now. Sure, we're going to see some of them more as I record this. There are 745, so there are going to be more players. There are going to be more CCPs. We may do another full CCP video before go too long, because I know some guys have been putting boosts in, and hopefully we'll be able to see those before draft day. I hope you're getting pumped for this. This is my favorite time of year in eMLB, the draft. For Backfields Media, I am Tim Lowry. I hope you are having a great day. You had to have some baseball at least, so it made it a better day. And we will talk to you next time.